self-leadership is something I've worked with my clients on a lot. It's all about resisting the urge to give into self-doubt and consciously leading yourself toward a more empowered way of living. Stopping before going down the rabbit hole. Choosing different responses and listening to your gut. We all know deep down that we came here to leave our mark on this world in some way. And the crazy head games we continue to play with ourselves are merely distractions from the task at hand. I truly, truly believe this. Welcome to Journeys Through Change, a podcast that inspires women to let go of the fear and say yes to possibility. I'm your host, Noelle Van, an author, creator, and empowerment coach who spent years in corporate America helping innovators and leaders ride the waves of change with ease and grace. I now work with women to step into change and unleash the power they have to create a life they love. Whether you're contemplating a change in your career, relationship, health, lifestyle, or anything in between, nothing's off the table. I'll be offering up simple insights to help you manage the ups and downs of change and sharing interviews with successful women who took a leap of faith to create the life they knew they were meant to live. Sharing their wisdom, advice, and all the juicy lessons they learned along the way. So get cozy in your favorite comfy chair and let's get started. I have to say, as we dive into our next set of episodes, I've been doing a ton of thinking lately about how we can continue to empower ourselves and each other to get out of our own way to make those pivotal changes that we know will make our lives better. I mean, it's a simple equation, but can be so hard for us to do when we let all of that inner chatter get in the way of making it happen. Now, I think it's important because I continue to be perplexed by how hardwired it feels sometimes to recognize the power I actually have to create what I want in my life. And I know that I'm not alone in this thinking. So I wanted to share a few revelations I've had over the past year or so as I've gone through some personal changes and starting my own business. It feels like stepping into the unknown has been nonstop for me during a relatively short period of time, and it's been quite an eye-opening experience. Now, my most recent adventure has definitely been a whirlwind. I found myself embarking on another home move, and it was a decision I made for all the right reasons. Extremely old home with old home problems and a rent increase that was beyond ridiculous. But it came somewhat unexpectedly, leaving me looking for a new place within a window of only a few weeks. I could tell from the moment I realized what I had to do and the amount of time I had to do it in that I needed to take a different tactic than my usual, holy crap, this is never going to happen approach. So for the first time in, ever, I decided I was not going to fall into my usual trap of anxiety when time is of the essence. This time I was going to let go of the wheel and let the universe lead the way. So in my years of home ownership, I was always a firm believer that my houses have found me. Always. It happened with my last 3 homes, so I decided to make a different choice this time, to give up the angst and just trust that the same serendipity would happen again. Now, let me mention that I recently became a renter again, and really any kind of Bay Area house hunting is crazy, even in the best of times. But let's just say the odds were not in my favor, and it was really important for me to land in the right place this time. Now, I admit I didn't start strong. The first place I wanted was perfect, but in a really sketchy neighborhood, and I had to face the fact that although it would have been convenient to find a place right away, my inner voice was telling me to take a pass. It left me an even smaller window of time to find a place, but I stayed strong and refused to panic or take on the worry as I would have done so many times in the past. Now, this is an important call out. I noticed myself making a very important shift. I used an entirely different tactic than I've ever used in the past by deciding to set my intention on what I wanted and giving up my need to control the how in getting there, leaving it totally up to the universe. I somehow knew in my heart that it would all work out, and I decided to let my search go on autopilot, releasing control in a way I have never done before. I knew the choices would show up and my intuition would guide me to the right spot. Now, I wrote about this in my book, The Sober Leap, how looking back on so many occasions in my life, I've experienced people or situations who would show up that were not in my best interest or the right choice for me at the time, and something would inevitably happen. An event, a conversation, a decision would be made, and then they would quickly disappear. Not literally, but they would kind of jump off my path. And I've always felt that the universe has had my back in that way, that somehow what's for my greater good is what's put in front of me. So sure enough, within 2 weeks, I found a brand new home for half my rent, close to my best friend, with bright light and great energy. It feels like a 100% upgrade from where I've been living, all falling into place to support my inspiration and creativity on a whole new level. As everything unfolded, it was not just better than expected, but beyond what I could ever have hoped for. This also sparked a new sense of motivation and wonder about the future in my business and all the incredible things I want to create. I think upheaval can often put us in a healthy reset mode. In my case, knowing I was going to be starting out in a new town and a light-filled space, I was feeling more inspired about everything. I think I either forgot or truly underestimated the power of being in new surroundings and what it can do for me energetically, because as each day passes here, I realize this could not have been a more perfect move for me at a more perfect time. I've been feeling stuck for a while now, and this was just what I needed. So, lesson number 1, change shifts energy. Never underestimate the power of shaking up the energy around you. It can spark a whole new level of creativity to put towards making things so much better. Now, I was told a long time ago to ask the universe for what you want or something better, because you often get more than you ever expected. Knowing this made me think a lot about why we so often shy away from change, even when we know deep down it's getting us closer to what we want. We know it's all about our past programming, but I find that it's not until we can really commit to something and it means enough to us that it forces us to ignore the voices in our head, trying to keep us from moving forward. Because more often than not, there is something so much better on the other side. Now, as many of you know, I've been building my business over the past 2 years, and I'm constantly amazed at how much I've grown as I've seen my inner strength grow in the process. It's like the lessons are coming at warp speed. Friends told me it would be a wild ride, but I had no idea just how wild it would be. Now, one thing I can say with a degree of certainty is that I know now more than ever that I can create whatever I want in my life. I've made so many things happen just by putting intention and focus toward them and not giving up when things felt daunting and difficult. Practicing this on a daily basis just strengthens my understanding of what I'm actually capable of doing, being, and having. And as time has progressed, the voices of doubt have also become quieter, and my conviction to keep walking toward what I want continues to grow. This time has taught me so much about the perceived limitations I've been carrying around for so many years that I simply had to drop in order to succeed in anything I was going to set out to do. Lesson number 2, never underestimate your own strength and how it continues to build, especially in times of uncertainty and challenge. Gone are the days of needing a steady corporate paycheck to feel or know my worth, or expecting others to mirror back to me how I should feel about myself, my impact, or my contribution in life. It's all such BS, but it's really taken me time to internalize. Now, other business owners have told me about how hard it is to grow a business and to be prepared for all the challenges along the way, but no one tells you how many seismic but subtle personal shifts are happening along the way. The crazy thing about entrepreneurship is it's literally a crash course in letting go of the old stuff I've clung to for so long while stepping into a whole new layer of intensity. It's like letting go of the nonsense and jumping into a higher set of expectations for yourself. Inspiring for sure, but also incredibly intimidating at the same time. It's an intensity that has no patience for drama or confusion or helplessness. It demands so much more. It has forced me to reframe all that I've learned and little by little let my experience and incremental wins build my confidence to focus on what really matters. Things like personal growth, purpose, impact, meaningful work, service. I'm constantly reminding myself of getting out of my own way and doing what needs to be done each and every day to become a better version of myself. I'm here to be of service and to share what I can with the world, and that's all that matters. The rest of the picture will paint itself. Now, I knew this choice to build my own business was going to require me to self-motivate every single day and spend a ton of time alone, left with my own often crazy thoughts. So my focus on cleaning up the doubt and negativity has become a daily practice. Now, we all know this is work in progress, but I've become so much better at swatting those negative thoughts away and reframing the false stories I tell myself that are just simply nonsense. And I do this for one reason, because I finally realized I simply cannot afford not to. If I don't do this, success in anything I do would not be an option. And that alone is my key motivator. I always say, keep up the crappy self-talk and kiss your goals goodbye. I should actually have that printed on a t-shirt someday because it's so, so true. This is where lesson 3 comes in. Expect more of yourself and you'll quickly realize your old way of thinking is getting you nowhere. Now, I've also learned when facing a challenge, business or otherwise, to leave my urge to react emotionally at the door and shift my attention to solving the problem. This can be a tough one for many of us. For me, it's something I actually had to learn early on in sobriety. The more emotion you attach to a problem, the more oxygen you give it. And the more oxygen you give it, the more power it has. Emotion creates drama, and drama is simply a progress killer. It spins you up in circles and nothing gets accomplished. Decisions become a stepping stone to get where I want to go now. And I know taking on a role of a victim when times get tough is just not the answer. So saying or thinking, I don't know, or I can't, are no longer options for me. Now, this makes putting energy toward my dreams instead of my obstacles so much easier. It cuts through all the crap and helps me focus on what really matters every single day. Now I wake up with a choice every morning. Am I going to worry about what may or may not happen today, or stay laser focused on what I want to create for myself? A thriving and impactful business that gives me greater freedom, joy, and balance in my life. I'm putting one foot in front of the other and continuing to take action. And though I'm the one taking the steps, I'm also allowing the universe to do its thing by supporting me in any way I can to make it happen. Now, another thing I know now more than ever is that my intuition is my truest guide. I often think about how long it took for me to get here and how difficult it is for many women to let go of the old stories and clear out those cobwebs so that our inner knowing comes through, leading the way for us to create what we truly want. But it's there, and it's always been there. It's just up to us to listen more carefully and recognize its presence. I've mentioned this before, but self-leadership is something I've worked with my clients on a lot. It's all about resisting the urge to give into self-doubt and consciously leading yourself toward a more empowered way of living. Stopping before going down the rabbit hole. Choosing different responses and listening to your gut. We all know deep down that we came here to leave our mark on this world in some way. And the crazy head games we continue to play with ourselves are merely distractions from the task at hand. I truly, truly believe this. How great is it that we get to live this life and learn so much along the way? Are we perfect at it? Hell no. But making the effort to see beyond the BS that's been holding us back is not just our right, but our obligation. So we can move on to the good stuff. Now, I know this may all sound like a lot of work, but it doesn't have to be. It is actually quite simple once you start listening more closely to your inner guidance. Once you do, your belief in yourself will begin to strengthen, and the energy that surrounds you, that consistently has your back, will become undeniable. And guess what? Things will start happening. The truth is, the universe is constantly working in your favor to make your life better. The sooner you start to believe this, the sooner you'll see it happen time and time again. This is where the last lesson sneaks in. Once you truly trust your intuition and that the universe has your back, you will have more courage to make things happen because you'll know that failure is simply not an option. So let me leave you with a few things you can say to yourself on a regular basis when you feel overwhelmed or have the urge to say, I can't. Simply say, I can always change how I think about myself and my own capabilities. I can listen to my own intuition and take action, knowing it's guiding me in the right direction. I can let go of worry and trust that the universe always has my back because it does. I can step into something new and find abundance on my own terms. I can give up the excuses and get up every morning, energized and excited about what I'm creating in my life. And finally, I can tell old beliefs, irrational worries, and perceived limitations to step out of the way so I can concentrate on what's important, inviting more into my life. I hope what I've shared helps you see how being open to even the slightest shifts in perspective can bring you that much closer to creating the life you love. That's it for now. Until next time. Thanks for listening to the Journeys Through Change podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or really wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to follow us and leave a review if you've enjoyed this episode. And share it with a friend or on social media to spread the good word, so more women like you can find us and join in on the fun. For more information on the podcast or Day by Day book, go to livedaybyday.com.